everyone. Welcome back. Welcome today as I am working on a sewing project and I decided to let you all see what that looks like for me. So as I have mentioned before, I love to sew. This is something that I truly enjoy. Certainly, you don't have to sew for your family when you are a homemaker, but this is something that I enjoy, something that I've done for my entire life. My mom taught me this as a kid. And so it's something that I get a lot of joy from. So I enjoy being able to um, do this for my family. So anyway, today I am working on a shirt for my son. So you will see right now I'm cutting out interfacing, which is basically a stabilizer that goes on the inside of the garment that you can't see, and it just helps the fabric be a little bit more stiff on things like the collar, and even where the snaps or the buttons go. But anyway, that's what I'm starting out doing. I didn't film when I was cutting out the actual fabric part, but this is where I'm starting, and you can see what the fabric is going to look like. It's that blue plaid with some cream in it. And anyway, so I am making this, like I say, for my son. So a couple of years ago, my husband and I decided that we wanted to be one of those families that matches at the holidays. When you get together with all the family, it's always neat to see the families who, everybody's wearing the same coordinating outfits of whatever sort. And me being the, don't know if I want to say the overachiever or the glutton for punishment, but being who I am, I said, well, if we're going to do this, I'm going to make them. We're not going to go buy these clothes. And so this is actually our 4th year to do that. And that's what this is. So this is my son's shirt. Before I made this one, my husband's is already completed. And I will be making, in fact, when you're now currently, I was working on this shirt a couple of weeks ago. I currently now have also finished the same shirt for my younger son. So I've made three of these dress shirts. And then my girls and I will be coordinating with them. The girls have jumpers that are made out of blue denim that has bees monogrammed all over it. And then I will just be wearing a denim skirt with a white blouse on top. But anyway, we started this. It's been a lot of fun to do the whole coordinating outfits for the family thing. The first year that we did it, I actually tried to make something for everyone in the family out of the exact same fabric. And it worked okay, but I quickly realized that the material or the design, the print that my husband wanted to wear for a dress shirt wasn't necessarily something that I wanted to wear for myself or was going to get a lot of wear out of. And if I'm going to go through the trouble to sew something for myself or for my family, I want it to be something that we want to wear, that's going to get the wear. Otherwise, I'm putting a lot of work into something for one picture. And so after that first year, we have started picking, the guys will pick a material that they like, and they will all have matching shirts. And then the girls, I will pick something. And the first year we did it, we all had matching dresses, and the fabrics, just between the guys and the girls, it coordinated, but it didn't match. And it actually turned out really nice. And then we did that same thing again last year. The girls and I wore skirts, and the guys had shirts. And actually last year was the first Thanksgiving with our youngest child. And so I made him a romper out of the same material that the guys' shirts were made out of. So that's kind of been the plan of kind of what we've done. And it's been a lot of fun. So right now, what I am working on currently, as you're watching me, is sewing the pockets on the front of these shirts. And this has been really tricky. Anyone who sews can appreciate this, but when you sew with plaid, it is much more tedious because you want to cut out the pieces and sew them together so that the lines in the plaids match up. Otherwise, you end up with shirts that the lines don't match. And I know sometimes we go to the store and I see ready-made things on the hangers that are plaid, and I think, oh, that's such a pretty shirt. If only they had taken the time to match the plaids. And it kind of makes me crazy. So when my husband is buying shirts, I'm the one going, no, you can't buy that when the plaids don't match. It's going to drive me crazy. So anyway, so that's what I'm working on. It takes some extra time to make that turn out and to make it work, but it looks so much nicer when it's done. And so anyway, that's what I'm starting with, is these pockets here is after they're actually sewn on. And like I say, these turned out really well. They blend in really well. I'm very happy with that. And then moving on to, this is now going to be the collar. And this, you also can tell here, I changed shirts. So this is a different day. So while I do enjoy getting to sew, obviously I don't have a whole lot of time on any given day to spend hours doing this. This is something that I will choose to do during nap time, during quiet time, when my older kids are playing and entertaining themselves, my younger kids are napping, and I have an hour or so that I can devote to my sewing project. And that's what I'm doing here. So it took me, oh, good grief, probably nearly 2 weeks to actually get this shirt completed, because I'm having to do it here and there. It wouldn't in reality take me that long if I could truly spend a day or two just sewing, but I don't get to do that, and it's okay. Sometimes I even need a break. But like I say, this particular project has been more tedious, and this fabric that I'm using was a little bit harder to work with than I anticipated it would be. So sometimes I appreciated the fact that I had to stop and go do something else. And then I came back the next day in a better frame of mind and ready to work on it again. So anyway, so this footage is over several days of me getting to work on this project. And I wanted to say, I mentioned earlier that this year I would be coordinating with the girls and not actually matching. We're not using the same fabric. And the reason for that this year is, it's kind of hard to tell in this footage, because like I say, this was a couple of weeks ago and the angles, but I am actually pregnant with our 5th child. We will be welcoming this baby in the spring. We're super, super excited. God has truly blessed us with our family, and we just continue to be thankful for the ones that we have and look to his direction for the future. But it has been wonderful, and we're very excited about this baby. But anyway, because of that, I am just over halfway through the pregnancy now, and have, even since these days that you are seeing right now, even since this footage, I have had to give up my blue jeans and admit that I have to wear maternity style clothing now. And because of that, I knew that if I made a skirt out of denim that was big enough to go over the belly, that it would be something that I could only wear when I'm pregnant, or I'm going to have to go back later and do a lot of, as I like to say, major surgery on the skirt to make it fit me when I'm not pregnant. And just because of that, I chose to not do that this year. Again, if I'm going to sew something, I want to love it, and I didn't feel like I was going to love the look of what that denim skirt would look like over a bump. And so I am choosing to just wear it's actually another denim skirt, but it will go over, fit me right now, and will coordinate with the girls and everything like that. So anyway, that's why I will not be actually matching with them this year, but hopefully next year we can go back to coordinating. So anyway, as I was filming this, even as I was editing it, I was watching it and going, well, I wonder if anybody even likes watching this kind of thing. You know, I enjoy watching this, but I like to sew. So y'all, let me know in the comments if this is something that you enjoy, if this is boring. That way I can kind of know, because I want to cater what I am showing you all to what you want to see, something that is helpful, something that you want to watch. So give me your feedback on this, on whether this is a good thing or no, Jill, don't do that anymore. So don't be afraid to let me know your opinion. And anyway, so This is one thing that I know when I have watched other videos that have sewing footage and whatnot, I haven't seen this. And when I talk to other people who sew, I find that this isn't super common. So I thought I would take a minute and address this. So this machine that I'm using right now is called a serger. And the purpose of a serger can also be called an overlock machine. The purpose of this machine is to finish the inside edge of the fabric. So when you sew two pieces together and you have what we call the seam allowances, which is the space between the seam that you sewed with your regular machine and the raw edge of the fabric that's going to ravel as it washes. You're going to get strings all over the inside. And in worst case scenario, you wear it enough times, you wash it enough times, it will ravel out enough that your seam will come undone. So in order to prevent this, one way of doing it is to use this machine. And it's kind of hard to see in this footage, but there are actually 4 spools of thread on there. You can see the first one, but the other 3 are kind of around beside it. And so the purpose of this is to finish that edge so it doesn't ravel. And so I do that on the inside edges of the clothing. And then right now I am serging the bottom edge, the hem, so that then I can just fold it up, iron it, and sew the hem up. But if you look on the inside of most of your clothes, at where the seams are, you can probably find the serged edge, but that's what I'm doing. And some people choose to not do that when they sew clothes. They find other ways to finish the seams. This is how I was taught to do it. I feel like it does a nice job. I can depend on it, and it's actually relatively quick to do. It doesn't take a whole lot of time once you have the machine set up to run that serge. So anyway, just thought I would add that in case anybody didn't know what I was doing here, help it make sense. You also might notice as I am working on this that there are school supplies behind me there. There's a little caddy with our colors and pencils and then the chalkboard. So I do not have a designated sewing space in our house. There isn't room. Here, about a year ago, we rearranged our dining area, and what once was the dining room is now the kids' schoolroom. And I doubled that space also as my sewing space. I was able to put this cabinet that my regular sewing machine sits on in there, and then the serger gets put away in a closet when I'm not using it, and then I can set it on my son's desk when I am using it. But I do not have a sewing space. That's something that would be wonderful, and hopefully one day I will have. Here's that finished cuff that's going to go around his little wrist. That's what I was working on there. But anyway, so that is something, it's really nice when, I see people who have their own space to sew. In fact, I grew up with, my mom had a separate little building. It was like an old business trailer that they had turned into a sewing room for her. And it was nice because you could sew and you could work on a project, and then when you needed to stop, you could just leave it. You didn't have to clean everything up and put everything away. And it was there. You could just close the door, and next time you wanted to sew, you could come back to it. And that was very nice. But the reality of it is we do not have the financial capability right now to put that on the priority list. That is a one-day dream for me. But if you have a hobby, don't feel like you have to have a special place for your hobby, or, oh, I can't do it. Yes, you have to have a place to store the stuff. All of my sewing gear is shoved in closets, honestly, when I'm not sewing, because that's my option. But if you have a hobby and there's something you want to do, you can make it work and just make the space work for you. And that's been a big deal for me, to be able to just make it work. It doesn't have to be perfect. And that's just the way it is. But anyway, I am now putting the snaps. This is actually my husband's shirt. I had not put the snaps on his shirt at the time yet. Was waiting to do 2 shirts at once. That way, kind of once I got into a rhythm of it, I could just do both of them at once. And this has been kind of fun. So the first couple of years we did this, I was doing button shirts. And while those are nice, my husband mentioned that he liked the look of snaps. And I had done a little bit with snaps in the past, but not a whole lot. And so This is my second year of putting snaps on these shirts. I used the gray shirt on the bed is actually his from last year, and because obviously my husband isn't growing any, so I can just lay last year's shirt out next to this year's and get the placement of the snaps where we like them to be. Trying to show you here the process. So you have the two different pieces. This is actually the snap piece, and then here I'll show you the part. This is, your decorative outside that has the little sharp prongs on it that goes through the fabric. And ideally that piece would snap up in there so that you would have those two, and you could just smash the fabric in there like I'm showing. But because these are pearl snaps and they have the rounded top, they don't fit in my pliers. So I have to kind of put the pearl snap part, have to kind of squish it into the fabric and poke those prongs through where I want the snap to be, and then squeeze the pliers together and put the snap on. But anyway, so I did that, and now I am marking where the back of the snap is going to go on the other side of the shirt, and I just lay it out, pin the top and bottom, and then mark. And I actually use a marker because nobody's ever going to see these spots, and mark exactly where I want that spot to go, so that once all the snaps are in, it will lay flat. And again, ideally, the plaid lines from one side of the shirt to the other will meet going across that seam. So this is another area that gets kind of tedious. Sometimes I have to take a break and walk away from it. But again, I really like the look of it. And so sometimes it's worth the extra effort. It's worth the challenge to get the desired look in the end. So here is the, got all this put in. Here's the final product. So he now has these snaps on his shirt, and as you can see, this time those plaids lined up really good. I was really happy with it. And so that's the finished look for that one. And then I have to go back and of course put the snaps in the cuffs. And that's how that turned out. And then here in a minute, you're going to see the picture of my guys in their matching shirts. So I hope y'all enjoyed this, and we'll see you next time.